She had to say something. But she also didn't want to ruin Daw and Kiernan's good moods after so difficult a meeting with the Archbishop and other church officiants. Daw's wealth and prestige had likely moved the annulment proceedings along more swiftly and easily than usual. Even so, the process had been unnerving for all of them. "I'd like to put the past behind us." Daw leaned back against the leather seat, as though trying to get comfortable, which was nearly impossible with all the jostling. The streets in St. Louis were notoriously bad, especially in February with the winter cold and snow. Though the interior of the carriage was dark, the outside lantern attached to the front side of the conveyance illuminated enough to see Daw smile warmly her way. "We'll leave the city tomorrow morn, so we will." "Thank you, Daw. That will be lovely." She couldn't muster a return smile, but she appreciated his efforts to soothe her nonetheless. Kiernan's brow crinkled. "We discussed moving back home now that the spread of cholera is waning." The dreaded and deadly cholera had arrived in St. Louis last month, shortly after the new year started. Many families, including theirs, had panicked and left the city, expecting the illness to take a devastating toll the same way it had a decade earlier. But so far, it hadn't spread as the naysayers had predicted. Now many people were resuming life as normal. "Aye," Daw said. "It won't be hurting us to stay at Oakland a wee bit longer now, will it?" Kiernan didn't respond, usually unable to oppose their Daw. Unlike her. Of her brothers and sisters, she'd ended up getting most of the Spitfire. She had enough to spread out among all 5 Shanahan children, with leftovers to distribute to a dozen more people. "If Kiernan wants to linger in the city, I don't mind staying." Enya clutched the edge of the seat as the barouche bounced again over the uneven street. Kiernan shot her a grateful look. Her brother clearly didn't want to go back to their country home. Was he bored there? More likely he had a woman or two in the city he missed and wanted to spend time with. And now that their oldest sister Finola was happily married, he was ready to enlist the services of the local matchmaker in forming his match. Of course, with the start of Lent tomorrow, a wedding would have to wait for at least 40 days, since the church frowned upon marriages during the holy weeks leading up to Easter. "We'll be going to the country home." Daw's words held the finality of a judge's gavel. "Mind you, that'll be far the best, until the wagging tongues have nothing else to say." Of course, Daw would be worried about what everyone was thinking. The Shanahan image was so gloriously important to him. More important than anything else. "Tongues will wag no matter what we do, so we may as well ignore them. We can be doing our best not to fuel them." This time her Daw's voice contained an edge. "Do you think I want to fuel them?" An edge crept into her tone too. This was the problem. No matter how much she and Daw tried to be civil to each other, they ended up arguing. Kiernan's gaze bounced back and forth between Daw and her, and he opened his mouth as though he intended to jump into the conversation and intervene before full-scale fighting commenced. But Daw spoke again first. "Try, Enya." Daw was sitting up tall on his seat now, his backbone as rigid as a lamppost. "That's all I expect. I have tried. If we live rightly, then we don't have to be worrying about the gossip mongers now, do we?" His voice rose a notch. Hers did likewise. "I did live rightly. I wasn't living in sin. You ran off with a dirty damn dog. At least I got married. You married the dog without my permission. I don't need your permission for everything I do." Her declaration rang hollow. The one time she'd broken free of her parents' strict control to choose her own marriage partner, the situation had ended in disaster. "You're my daughter, and as long as you're living under my roof, you'll do as I say that you will."